This video is brought to you by Roll for Combat, an official Paizo actual play podcast. Join Acheron, Hap, Alhara, Riley, Darius, and the entire Circus of Wayward Wonders as they save the Starstone Isles from the dreaded extinction curse. Listen now to 3-Ring Adventure at rollforcombat.com. Hello and welcome to How It's Played presents Encounters Part 3, Treasure. In previous parts of this series, we discussed how to design encounters and how to build them mechanically, and in this part we're going to dive into the rewards players might receive after their encounters. Treasure represents all of the material rewards players earn during their adventures. Loot taken from fallen foes, a dragon's hoard of gold, and compensation received from quest givers are all common types of treasure. The first step in determining what treasure to give your players is to check Table 10.9 on page 509, Party Treasure by Level. This table shows how much treasure should be awarded to a group of 4 PCs over the course of an entire experience level. The total value column shows you the total value of all treasure to be given over that level of experience. For example, if your players just reached 6th level, then you should provide them a total of 2,000 gold worth of treasure between now and when they reach 7th level. And that is 2,000 gold for the entire party of 4, not per player. You can divide that 2,000 gold any way you want, but the next 3 columns in the table provide a standard recommendation. The permanent items column suggests the number of permanent magic items to award the party. Again, for a 6th level party, you would award 2 7th level magic items and 2 6th level magic items. Note that for 1st level parties, instead of magic items, you might want to award non-magical items worth 10 to 20 gold. For example, maybe one of your players is a fighter who wants a suit of half-plate armor, but couldn't afford it when they rolled their character. In addition to those permanent items, you would also award a number of consumables. These are any item with a consumable trait like potions or scrolls. Here we see that during their journey from level 6 to level 7, this party would receive 2 7th level consumables, 2 6th level consumables, and 2 5th level consumables. And then in the party currency column, we see how much money the player should receive. This is in addition to the magic items already mentioned. So again, with our 6th level party, they would receive 500 gold in currency. This could be received in gold or given out in some form of asset like gems or works of art. Maybe this party is offered 75 gold pieces each for the quest, and that counts for 300 gold, and then during the quest they find an assortment of gems worth 125 gold, a circlet worth 20 gold, and a fine tapestry detailing the history of the kingdom that's worth 55 gold to the right person. The key with currency is to try not to use it to purchase more gear, and remember gear sells for 50% of its value, whereas gems, art, and other assets sell for 100%. So basically everything listed in these columns roughly adds up to the total in this column. So you can choose to use either their recommended distribution or take the lump sum and divvy it up however you wish. As previously mentioned, the table is intended for parties of 4 players, but is fairly easy to adjust things for more or fewer people. For each additional PC over 4, you would add 1 permanent magic item that is of a level no higher than 1 greater than the party level, 2 consumable items, one that is the party level and one that is a level higher than the party level, and increase the amount of party currency by the amount shown in the currency per additional PC column of the table. So for example, if our 6th level party had 5 players, the players would receive 5 permanent magic items, 2 that are 7th level, 2 that are 6th level, and 1 that may be either 6th or 7th level. They would also receive 8 consumable items, 3 7th level, 3 6th level, and 2 5th level. And we would also add 125 gold to the party currency, making it 625 gold worth of money, gems, art, and other assets. When you have fewer than 4 players, you can subtract the same amount for each missing character, but the book does advise proceeding with caution. If there are fewer than 4 players, they may need more and better gear to handle encounters since they may not have the variety of skill sets between the 2 or 3 of them to handle most challenges. So letting them have more treasure might help to offset that. That's the basic process for determining encounter rewards, but this can be as much an art as it is science, and there are a few remaining things you want to keep in mind. First, remember that any items gained from monsters and other enemies should be taken from the party's total allotment and not be added to that amount of permanent magic items. For example, the stat block for a Grave Knight says that it wears a suit of +1 resilient full plate armor. This is a level 8 item, so if your players were 8th level and budgeted to receive 2 8th level permanent magic items per the party treasure table, then this Grave Knight's armor would count as one of those 2 items and not be awarded in addition to the 2 items from the table. Also, while I'm on the topic of monsters, the sidebars in the bestiary often include advice for what treasure fits the theme of the monster. For example, in the section on angels, it includes a sidebar about angelic treasure that says they often wear objects of exquisite beauty, including fine clothing and jewelry. This could be a signal that this would be a great place to include some of that party currency budget in gems, jewelry, and other works of art. Remember, just about anything can be handed out as treasure. If you have a crafter in the party, then provide some formulas. If you have spellcasters, include a spell book that they can learn new spells from. Remember, any spell or item with a rarity other than common should not be readily available for purchase. The best way for spellcasting characters to gain new, uncommon, and rare spells is by receiving them as treasure, and trying to tie the item or spell into the encounter. If the players defeat a powerful druid, maybe they find a journal detailing an uncommon primal spell. If they defeat a necromancer, maybe their spellbook has a rare necromancy spell the players otherwise would never have access to. Another point to keep in mind is to be intentional about when and how you award treasure. If you're planning to award a magic weapon, you might consider awarding it earlier so that they have it with them for the final boss fight. Likewise with healing potions. If you expect players will need them, award them early. If you fear they may go through them too quickly, maybe you'll want to hold them until later. And include some way for the players to be able to sell any items they don't want and purchase ones that they do. Remember, magic items and similar gear sell for 50% of their listed price, and gems, art objects, and other assets sell for their full value. The easiest way to do this is in a city where there are shops that specialize in magic, but if your game takes place far away from civilization, you might need to get creative. And speaking of selling items, if you wish, you can include magic items that are lower level than those suggested in the table. If you do so, count them as only half their price against the party currency column of the table, and assume the item will be sold instead of kept long term. Last, be aware that no matter how well you plan, things will not work out perfectly. The players may decide to not explore a room that you had treasure in, or fail a perception check to find the hidden compartment in a desk that holds a magic item, or just not want to use the items that you award them. So you'll want to stay on top of what items they have and adjust accordingly. If they miss treasure in one room, add some to another. And you might want to consider periodically auditing their sheets to ensure they're each carrying an appropriate amount of magic items. If they're not, then you may want to add 1 or 2 magic items to bring them up. The Pathfinder 2nd edition system assumes the characters are properly geared for the encounters, so if a player is under-geared, you'll want to correct that quickly. Before we close, I'd like to take a moment to thank all of my patrons. These videos would not be possible without their continued generosity and support. Members of the How It's Played Patreon community receive special benefits like exclusive content and getting to vote on the topics I cover. If you would like to support this channel and help it grow, the easiest way to do that is by subscribing and clicking the bell icon so you get notified when new videos release. And I can always be reached through Twitter and Facebook too. Thanks for watching, take care, and happy gaming!